question is, how, because you are influencing me, for example, how do you come out as an influencer for the society to say, see, one thing I learned during COVID, I don't want to take too much time, but because you said all this, I remember this. One thing I learned during COVID is we need very little to live. First point, we need very little to live. Second point is we have too much. By that count, we have too much for our living. And the third, which is the most dangerous, is that we are so greedy that we want more and more. Now, you have gone through this difficult phase when you realize that you are a well-to-do person and perhaps financially you may not be so well-to-do today. But I think you have gained so much in life because of your experience that in many ways your wisdom can be valued to be much more than what you would have perhaps earned as a doctor. Now, what would you like to suggest to the society today? How to take up adversities like you faced? And one small question which is very personal. Do you think that you made some mistake physically or mentally which led to this particular thing and which you would like to forget? Thank you.
I'd like to answer the first part of your question first. So I think in terms of needing quite a little but having too much, I think the difference is between want and need. And we often blur the lines of it. What we need is what is essential for us to live well. And by need, I mean roti, kapra, makan, and a few other things. By want, there is no limit. I want one car, I want a bigger car, no, I want a super car. It carries on, because that's when it becomes a rat race. So if we can find a difference between when the need finishes and the want comes in, so that will make our lives a lot easier. I've been here for last few months because my mother-in-law had taken quite ill. And when I came in, I only came in for a week and I bought a small rucksack with about 3 or 4 t-shirts, 2 pairs of jeans, and one jacket which I wore in UK, but I mean I didn't need it here. And believe me, I have spent all these months with just those. And that's why I realized, well, you don't need so many clothes. It's not important to be wearing branded t-shirts, branded clothes. What is more important is to have branded thoughts. So that, I think, would perhaps answer a little bit of your question. So it is up to us to introspect and find out what we actually need. Because at the end of the day, when we die, either we were going 6 feet under the ground, or we were going to get fried up like a barbecue. That's it. So there's no point. We're not taking anything. So, but what we can leave behind is a good legacy. What we can leave behind is if someone remembers you for a bit longer than what they do to others, saying that, yeah, this guy was a good man. If it is, say, if I die today, my gravestone or my obituary will say 1975 to 2025 with a hyphen in between. It's not the numbers that matter. It is that hyphen that is what is important, what we have done in our time. So let us try and make that more meaningful, and that will help us live a better life. In terms of your second question, sorry, just repeat the last how did I come out of it, right?
No, not how you came out. You told us very poignantly how you came out of it. And I said that it's a very different, very unique kind of an experience you had. Not many people can take it. Okay. My thing is that having...
Oh, do I think if something bad I have done in the past?
Do you feel that
yes.
It's a result of something that you might have done and which you would like to forget in life?
I think what I would say is when I kind of came to my senses of after the initial shock that I can't walk anymore, I can't do anything more as a normal person. It was like almost like standing in the middle of a forest at night with broken glasses and you don't see what goes on where, and I didn't have a clue what I'd be doing. But now as time has passed, it is almost like the sun is rising again with with the sun rays on the dew drops, and it's almost a new beginning. Now I feel maybe this was my calling. So initially, I did worry about those things. I could not pinpoint a particular thing because of my life, whatever I had done, I had at least knowingly I haven't hurt anyone. But I do believe, especially again, this may be right or wrong, I don't know. My grandfather was a Mozadar, and he, like all the Mozadars and Zamindars, he amassed a lot of land, more than 300-400 bighas of land in Jagirod, most of which was then bought by the paper mill. And most of the land was probably taken off by giving money to the poor people and then taking land in return when they couldn't have that. And I have seen many Mozadar families of those who have been cursed one way or another. So there is something called Pitru Paksh, or Pitru Dosh, which according to Hindu scriptures, there are certain karmas that go from one generation to another. So it is possible that I have become a part of that curse, and therefore I had to atone this in my own way. But as of now, I am now coming out of that victim phase, and I think this is what I was meant to do. And somewhere or another, I have been bought into this, where initially I just saw those 55 patients in south of London, and those were the people who mattered to me and my family. But now I'm known by so many more across the world, and maybe I'm touching a few hearts, maybe I'm changing a few lives in whatever small way. So I feel blessed. So I don't have that regret anymore.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no question, but I one observation. In spite of all the challenges, you are fortunate. You have been blessed with a very caring spouse, your daughter, and she is also very support and comfort, and you enjoy the blessings of your parents. So from that point of view, you are fortunate.
Fortunate, yes, absolutely. Yes, and that is very important. I think that is where in my talks I always suggest to have gratitude in life, to be grateful for everything that we have. And ever since I have started practicing gratefulness, the fact that I'm still alive, the fact that I'm say, although with crutches, I'm still able to come here, I'm meeting people like you. So everything is a blessing. So whenever I talk, like including when I counsel people and especially students, when I ask them, what do you think? How's your day? They will say, oh no, another day, more reading, more exams, this, that sort of thing. So I always give them a task. So write 10 things that is good in your life. And believe me, most people are not able to find more than 3-4 things that is good in their life because they don't appreciate it. But the very fact that somebody is healthy, somebody doesn't have financial worries because their parents are looking after them, somebody is getting 2 meals to eat, all of these things are to be grateful for. And once we are more grateful for everything, we appreciate everything more, and you see your stress levels go down a lot.
What we feel, realize that our enemies. Enemies, it is believed that it is not outside, it is inside. So if I can control myself, I can control everything. That means I want to say that how to control the mind. I think in that case, you are one of the most winner. But I can see from your speeches. So what is the basics? How can we control our inner mind? Can you give me some tips?
That's it. I think the first thing I would say is that you cannot be a winner every single day. So although I'm saying all these things, this hasn't happened overnight. It is a process. Even now I have dark days where I feel that I've lost everything. But then something happens which kind of perks me up, and then I feel better. I feel that I am still doing something meaningful. In terms of tips, I think the most important thing is to be honest to yourself. Because you can lie to everyone, you cannot lie to yourself. So if you've done something bad, people may not realize, nobody else would know, but you would know what it is. So it is about being able to accept that yes, I had done something wrong, so let me try and overcome it by doing something right. In terms of dealing with your families who are, I mean, the enemies disguised as families or friends and all of that, I think the best thing we can do is to build a glass fence around us or a glass ceiling, whatever you say. It's like building a barrier that you kind of manage expectations. So like it's like if somebody is asking money from you, you give it for one day, say you give it 100 rupees. Next day they ask for money, they give you 500 rupees. Third day they ask money, you give 1000 rupees. Right? Fourth day they have asked you, and by this time you realize that they are taking advantage of you. They have asked for 10,000 rupees and you say no. Nobody will remember the first 3 days that you have given money. Right? So they will say either, oh, yaar bahut paisa ase tothapiu dibo nware. Or they will say, yaar iman paisa ei kiba nichchoi gondogol kiba eta kore jor pari imani paisa dibo parise. So you try and manage this expectation right at the beginning. Maybe the first time you give the 50 rupees, say I have given you 50 today, I will not be able to perhaps give you in the future. So that is about kind of preparing the other person to behave, or conditioning the other person to behave without being impolite. And the final thing I would say, as I mentioned during my talk, is complete surrender. Complete surrender in the sense, I mean, saying that nothing is in my hands. All I can do is my duty. The rest is up to you, God. So if you can completely surrender yourself, including your fears, your anxieties, your good and bad, everything, then you will feel a lot lighter. That is something I can tell you from my own experience. The day I was able to, I'm still not, I'm probably still in the baby steps of being a spiritual seeker. But as I said, this time around, I visited 36 temples and Namgars and all that in Assam. And trust me, there are so many beautiful places in Assam that we often overlook because we go outside. But when I'm able to go and surrender myself, then I have seen that my stress levels have come down a lot. So please try this, it may help.
You are an excellent writer. I read your article on Kamakya, which came out in the Assam Tribune, and I sent you a message. It was so well written. My question to you is, when you face adversities, and you have mentioned rightfully that what sustains you is number one, your family, number two, friends, at least a few friends who have stood by you, and number three is spirituality. I think we have experienced all of these. Now my question is very specific on two small issues. One is something very ironical when you say that after your first operation and then the second operation and things got bad and you had to spend 7 months in hospital, then you finally came down to Kochi for Ayurvedic treatment. How did that go? How much relief did you get, number one? And number two, a little bit about your spiritual journey. What did you learn about spirituality through this experience?
Thank you very much. So in terms of Kochi, I think it's an Ayurvedic treatment. So there were two things that was happening. One, I think at the time had come when I wanted to try everything. And by that I mean not limiting myself to just a Western allopathic treatment. So it is again, I faced a lot of criticism from my doctor friends and all that, saying, you are a doctor and you are now going for Ayurvedic treatment sort of thing. But I did read a lot about it, and I think that reading had helped, and I was prepared to try anything. So I came to Kochi. I was there for almost 3 months, and at that time the clinic was within the auspices of Le Méridien Hotel, and it was very nice. I mean, it was not just the treatment itself was like having 2 massages by 2 people on either side of you, and they'll massage you for an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening, 2 hours of physiotherapy. They would make you cry, but they have to do what they want you to do. So that kind of help, that resolved help. And plus, it was a retreat because I was away from my family and all of that. They joined me in the last 2 weeks, but for all of that time, it gave me a lot of time to think, to retrospect, and that is again, I think that helped with the spiritual journey. So that's how I ended up in Kochi, and I am glad I did. They had asked me to come for 2 more times, but that's when COVID came in and I couldn't come. Since then, I have recommended quite a few people to go there to that particular doctor, and they have all given me very good feedback. In terms of my spiritual journey, I think spirituality is quite a huge, big word. Lots of people probably use it for wrong reasons as well. For me, my first thing was that spirituality is not a cliche. It's not something posh or anything like that. It's a part of our daily life. And I think being Indian, being in India is the place where all the big spiritual seekers or big spiritual people have come out from. This is the land of Gautam Buddha, this is the land of Krishna, and now I think the Westerners probably value Indian spirituality more than the Indians themselves. So my journey kind of started off with reading books, and then particularly listening to audiobooks. I started off with listening to some motivational books. One of them being When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi. And then there was another one called The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch. So please do check these books out. They're really, really good books. So, and then as I read, you'd see that even in YouTube, if you watch some kind of videos, and other videos will pop up, it will give you recommendations what to watch. Similarly, in terms of books, as I was reading one book, some other book would come up, and that's how my journey started. And I think one thing followed from another. It's not that I had decided to go a particular temple. It's now I feel that I'm just being called there. And it has happened so many times that I go to the temple, it's closing hours or something like that. And recently it has happened several times. But I reach there and I think, oh, well, it's bad luck, I won't be able to visit the temple today. And then suddenly the pujari or someone would come from somewhere and say, oh, have you come today? Okay, I'll open the temple for you. It has happened like that. It has happened recently in Kakogukhani Than in Bukasar. It has happened in Deokhal temple in Jagi Road. It has, and even like I went to Bordwa Than recently. And the moment I folded my hands and prayed, so you get a sudden feeling, you get sudden surge of energy, and you feel this was, God has accepted my prayer. Maybe He was waiting, maybe He wanted me to come. So it's something I cannot describe in words, but it is something which is kind of giving me more and more energy, more and more faith, and something to follow through.
The journey is very inspiring, and each one of us will wholeheartedly agree that the way you have spoken about your journey so honestly and so articulately, it's very commendable, and I really wish you all the very best that whoever you meet in the months, days, years to come gets a lot of encouragement from you. We indeed need mentors and inspiring people around us on a day-to-day life. So you have covered so many things, whether it is your medical treatment, your gratitude, the way you've practiced gratitude, the way you have gone to temples. I'm also I'm very connected to God. I don't like the word spiritual, but I talk to God a lot, and I get a lot of strength from God as well. However, we all know that it's not always rosy, like you said very correctly. There are moments of, we question a lot, and sometimes the mind is going haywire. But there must be some method that you must be following when it comes to, just centralizing your mind, body, and soul. What we call holistic wellness, which goes hand in hand with medical treatment. Western treatment, as you may notice, they focus a lot on medication and a lot of professionalism, which is good. But when it comes to India, we also focus a lot on healing and all forms of healing. Whether you go to the north or west, east, they all have their own forms of healing. So can you just, apni je Ohomia hoy, apni eta combined eta approach ko paribo neki jo Western aru Indian eta mane apnak jitu sahay korise?
Sure. Thank you. So, I think what has helped me, especially recently, is the fact that I am now able to surrender myself more than what I was in the past. Our biggest enemy is our ego, because we think we are too important, right? We all have this feeling that moi nokorile kamtu nohobo. Moi nohole prithibikhon nosolibo. It won't carry on. So that sort of thing. Often it is these ego that leads on to relationship problems and all sorts of things, right? So when I was visiting, my brother studied his engineering from Kolhapur, a place called Ichalkaranji. And when I went to visit him, there was a plaque right at the entrance, which is reading place ahead, leave your ego behind. And it really hit me, so because unless and until we can leave our ego behind or get rid of it, we're really not able to learn anything. And remember, all knowledge is education, but not all education is knowledge. Because we spend a lot of time just getting degrees and diplomas and all that, which do not actually make sense or give us any new knowledge. So in my case, what has helped recently is the fact that I'm able to surrender a bit more. And as I said, I'm not talking in terms of God, in terms of religion, because everybody gives a different name, right? So, and it doesn't matter whatever religion we are. I'm born a Hindu, that's why I take the name of the Hindu gods. So now I understand that although rituals are important, but actually if you go by the scriptures, the rituals are for the demigods, for the devtas. It's the devtas who like the incense, the agarbattis and the diyas and the flowers and all that. The supreme God, or in terms of, from the Sikh, they say Ik Onkar, who is the one and only. So he's even above the Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar sort of thing. So the Supreme God doesn't want any of your rituals. All he needs is your love and your surrender. So I feel now I'm in love with my Krishna. I just feel, I can't describe that feeling. I just feel I love him. I just love him and I just talk to him. Whether he likes it or not, it's a different matter. I tell him off, I talk to him just as a friend. That's it. And I now feel I have got him. I probably don't need anybody else as much as I used to. So that's what I would suggest in terms of how you love God or how you go into spirituality and all. Just be you. God is within you. Don't want to sound like a father, but I'll just say that spirituality, God, divinity, everything is within you, and it is within everyone. So if you love the person sitting next to you, if you love every animal that you come across, if you stop chopping off trees like we do in Guwahati, then that's it. You are getting closer to God with every step. In terms of the holistic healing, I think it is very important to understand that the mental health plays as big a part as the physical health. We treat coughs and colds and cancers and all sorts of things, but we still don't talk about mental health issues because there's a lot of stigma around it. And especially it's men who suffer from this. And your studies will show you that the suicide rate in men is far higher than in women. Because women, please don't take it personally, but women can cry, women can talk, they can gossip, but it helps in venting out the frustration. Men often find it more difficult. But believe me, real men do cry. It's not the stereotype that men cannot cry, men cannot show their weakness and eventually end up hanging themselves. So we need to talk and we need to encourage other people to talk. That's what I do with all the students that I come across. I'm the honorary advisor of a couple of universities. That's when I talk to them. And it's not just students. It's any age, at any age. So if any of you have anything that you want to share, or I can be of help with anything on a one-to-one basis, please do call me up, and then we can talk. Or you know of anyone who may benefit, then please let me know. But because unless and until we deal with the mental health aspect of a particular disease or a personality, we cannot treat physical symptoms alone, and that's where Western medicine lacks. We just give medicine and do tests.
Is it necessary for someone to be religious to be spiritual?
Not at all, sir. I am not religious, but I feel that I am going down the path of spirituality. I think there's a lot of overlap, but I think we often think we kind of misunderstand religion and faith. Religion is basically, from what I understand, I hope I don't get chased down by people for saying something wrong, but religion is basically a group of people who believe in certain rituals or certain names. And I think, as history would suggest, there was, for example, there was Islam, Christianity, and all the religions came out one after another. Islam came out of Christianity because certain people didn't like the way Christians were behaving. Or similarly, some other religions came out of it. So religion is basically a group of people who believe in certain things or in doing certain things in a certain way. Faith or spirituality, however, surpasses all of that. Again, I thank you all for your time, for your kind listening to me, and I hope I have been able to touch your heart. So please keep blessing. I'm a lot younger than many of you, most of you I think, so please keep blessing. And just my final thing is laugh at yourself so that you don't give a chance for others to laugh at you. Yeah. Thank you.